I'm really at my wit's end when it comes to people willing to complain but not willing to do anything. So hats off to everybody, a big congratulations, and all give yourselves a big round of applause. So we're in a very interesting time, right, in South Africa, and it feels fantastic to have a little bit of hope, doesn't it?
Yes.
It's really good to have a little bit of, it feels like we might be in the World Cup again, right? Right? It feels like this time we're fighting for our country, we're fighting for our rights, we're fighting for our civil liberty. And we're fighting for what's right, more than anything. And it's been too long where we've allowed people to just have their way and not to be held to account. And can you believe that these little guys, the New Nation movement, along with a couple of more senior people, took this fight to the courts and ended up winning?
Yes.
Can you believe it? And it was out of nowhere. It's probably one of the biggest things that will ever happen to us in our democracy, and it's getting very little attention. And that's a concern for us. So it becomes our responsibility now to make sure that we are using this opportunity to learn ourselves about the direct electoral system, what it means for South Africa, and how we can use it to our benefit to fix our country. And our country, guys, is busted to smithereens. Okay? When you actually start to move around South Africa and you actually start to get entrenched into our townships, into our communities, you can see the damage that has been done, systemic damage that has been done. It's been left from the apartheid regime, and it's just been left to rot. It suited the needs of those in power, because there's no ways you're going to bring people together and empower them if your intentions are to rape and to loot our country. So that's why it's been left, and that makes this new government as guilty as the last government.
Yes.
So and like the last government, the people will have its way. The people will get its way. But we can only do that when we start to mobilize and we start to stand together, and we really take the time to actually understand what the problems are here. Because what we see in the news in terms of what's going on in our townships with the rioting, we have this fear base inside of us, our savage South Africans it's not the case. These people are frustrated. They are frustrated. They are destitute. They don't even get food parcels. They don't have any services. They are living in their own excrement. It is disgusting what has happened to our country. It is absolutely appalling. They are at their wits' end, and they have been tolerant. They have been very tolerant. Our people are absolutely beautiful. They're a patient nation. We are too obedient in South Africa. We have allowed too much to happen in South Africa. And I think what we're starting to see now is the boiling over, and people have had enough. So what can we do to actually get involved and to help? Because unless we're prepared to help at a grassroots level, we also might as well just pack our bags and piss off to Australia. We must also just run away from our country then. Unless we're prepared to get involved, we cannot have an opinion, and we cannot have a perception of what's going on. If we take the time to actually get involved in the trenches, we take the time to actually speak to people and see what it is that they're going through, and learn how we can assist them. And we can do it from a number of ways, guys. We can get involved in NGOs, MPOs, projects, sustainability projects, education, arts and culture. We were in Alex yesterday. We met with these amazing groups. One of them is called 30 Strong. These guys, and the other one is called Rays of Hope. Rays of Hope. If you go into the township of Alexander, it looks like a mess. It's not. It's absolutely, you won't believe the structure that they have. You won't believe how the communities have rallied together to work with SAPS and SANDF so that they don't abuse the people that are living in these townships. So that the people in the townships have got a relationship with the people that are supposed to uphold them. They have gone and spoken to a number of corporates so that they can get funding and food sustainability in, so that they can feed their communities. They have launched arts and culture projects in their communities.
Yeah.
They have launched education projects in their communities. They have got feeding schemes in their communities. It is incredible what they do. I mean, just was it yesterday? The shack burnt down and 2 people died. They rallied to the community. They fed them. They clothed them. They're counseling them. These are our people that we think are backwards. They're not backwards. We're backwards. Let me tell you, we are the ones that are backwards. We've got a lot of learning to do. When it comes to Ubuntu, when it comes to sticking together, how many of you know your neighbors? How many of you got a fantastic? Look at that. How scary is that, guys?
Yeah.
How many of you have got a good relationship with your suburb? That's incredible. It's incredible. But it's not the norm. I mean, I know that, for example, I lived in an estate in Cape Town. The neighbors didn't know, we didn't even know each other. We literally, you walk outside and then there was somebody right next to you. We didn't know each other. We didn't know each other's names. Nothing. The only time you see them is on a WhatsApp group where everybody's shouting and moaning and complaining and having a go at each other or talking some nonsense, but no real sense of community. We don't have community. And if we don't build community, we are not going to build South Africa. Because South Africa is a community.
Yeah.
It's a community of communities. And it's filled with people that are willing and able and ready. So the responsibility falls squarely on our shoulders, right? You know what our president said, Tumamina? Tumamina? Yeah, send me. You know that's what he said? That was true, guys. You know, send me. Let's go in. Let's serve. Let's serve our communities. Let's serve our people. Let's create awareness. I just want to touch a little bit more on direct elections and what it means for those of you that aren't familiar. The direct electoral process, okay, basically what's happened is the IEC and Parliament, through their genius, decided to change the original format, which was actually implemented by the ruling party in the beginning, which had the best intentions, it really did, but it got hijacked somewhere along the line. And that process says that, no, you don't vote for people, you vote for a party. We'll make the decisions once we're in there. And that's taken away all accountability, right? And that's taken away any level of empowerment for the public or the Republic of South Africa. So this little group, the New Nation Movement, and a guy called Michael Louis and Sadiwe Mazibuko, these guys got together and they said, cool, we're going to run this to the high courts. We're going to challenge the electoral system. Based on the fact that along the line, these guys shippered the system. And they went to the High Court and they won, and it got appealed. And they went to the Con Courts, and they said, when I met with them, the guy said, we didn't think for a second we were going to win. The streets nuts got headed down. Chief Justice Mogoeng, who is the rock of our country, let me tell you.
Yes.
Chief Justice Mogoeng handed down the ruling and said, you will change the system. So now they were given 24 months. We've now got 20 months left for them to change the system, okay? The intricacies that lie within changing the system and the responsibilities are incredible. The ruling party and the IEC are going to do everything that they can to try and dilute this process so that it doesn't have the teeth that it needs. But there are so many people now that are working against them to make sure that this process is completely transparent. There's a gazette coming out in a couple of days now where it's asking for people input. So it's important that every one of you, when it comes out, read it. Read the gazette. Read where they are right now with the direct electoral process. Make your comments. You have to get involved in the process, okay? We want it to be for the people, by the people in the story. The political infrastructure that we have right now doesn't make any sense. We want to be able to elect our own councillors, our own mayors, our own premiers, and potentially our own number one. But we don't know exactly how it's going to work. There's a lot of different options. There's a process over the next 20 months for us to learn exactly how we can do this, to digest it, to challenge each other's ideas and thinking around the situation. But I can tell you now, it is a landmark ruling. It is immense. It is immense. I cannot stress enough the importance of this ruling that was just handed down. Okay. So let's start focusing, let's start educating ourselves around the direct electoral process, what it means for South Africa, and how that has the potential to reshape the face of our politics, okay? Because that is going to be the savior of South Africa. It is. And then we have a government that is for the people, by the people, as per the Freedom Charter. For the people, by the people, where we get to choose, where our interests get served. And if you don't serve our interests, thanks very much for your term, you're gone. We'll replace you with somebody else. If you've stolen money, you are accountable to the public. You know, you are accountable to the courts of public opinion, and you will get prosecuted, and we will be able to have those tools and those mechanisms in place now. But government is not going to be able to solve all of our problems. It doesn't matter what happens. There are 58 million South Africans, okay? You cannot have a small governing body that's going to fix the decay that exists within our country that has been there for decades, centuries, actually. So that becomes very much a grassroots effort. And this is why I say it's so important. So take your time, get involved with NGOs, MPOs, people that are doing good work in the communities, and find out how you can help them. Find out how you can bridge gaps, and let's start to build from grassroots up. We have to build from the bottom up while the system allows to filter down from the top. We have to meet somewhere in the middle and turn our country into gold. I know that they've turned it into a disaster over the last 30 years, but remember that Dubai was desert. It was desert 25 years ago. All right, so in the next 25 years, 26 years, we can turn our country into everything. We've got every resource. We've got the most amazing neighbors that have got even more resources. There's nothing that we can't do. But we have to stand together to do that, right?
If we have NGOs, where do we start? Where do we start?
As an NGO?
Yes.
Fantastic. So, I mean, it's a difficult question to ask. I mean, what was your intention behind the
To
NGO?
help. We've started with Hamman's Grau.
Great.
But starting with the help. You know, we need a few funds. We can't carry it.
Yeah.
There's about 7 of us. We saw the chief on Thursday.
Yeah.
And just we need some direction.
Yeah.
We need some help.
Yeah. So, I mean, so what we've done in order to build this thing in the last 5 weeks is to reach out to speak to companies, go speak to people that you know, and get people's interest involved. You know, we have to look for
But when you
sponsorship.
approach companies, they're already like, hey, get a approach so often. So
Leave
Step
corporate
away.
SA alone and go to small businesses.
Yes.
Support local small businesses.
not
Want to help
supporting,
us.
you're asking for help. So
That's
small
right.
businesses, especially with COVID, may not be able to help.
Fair enough, but when we support them and we tell them what we're about, they get on board.
There are plenty of
Corporate
people willing
SA
to help.
doesn't need us.
Yeah.
Small business does.
Bang. 100%. Yeah, there's plenty of people willing to help. Don't think that for a second. I mean, we did all of this through the public.
Yeah.
Everything that we've done now is through the public. The funds that we raised in order to allow this to happen, every T-shirt, every cap, every flight, every sponsorship, every township that we've managed to reach and touch is all because of the public. So people are more than willing to get stuck in. Trust me. This only happened because of all of you. That's it. It's only happened because
Yes.
of everyone. Well done.
I'm just assigning myself like the role of
Oh, nice.